Hi everyone, I am Anshula and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Laudable. Today we would be discussing the topic Section 9 Suit of Civil Nature under the provisions of Civil Procedure Code 1908. Do listen this video till the end for better understanding and keep your Bear Act handy, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe the video. Now, according to Section 9, for a suit to be of civil nature, it must fulfill two conditions. First, it should be a suit of civil nature, and second, cognizance of such suit is neither expressly or impliedly barred by any law for time being in force. Now, what is a suit of civil nature? Though this term is nowhere defined in the code, but it is a Latin term which means relating to citizens. So, any rights which are relating to private lives of citizens constitute civil rights, and any act done in violation of such rights may result in filing of suit of civil nature for protection of such rights. So, we can now easily find out that what is, in simple words, that what is not criminal is civil. So, opposite of criminal is civil. So, civil means private. So, any right which relate to private life of a person is related to civil rights, and any act done in contravention of such rights, then a person can file suit for protection of his or her rights. Now, explanation to Section 9 relate to right to property and right to office. In brief, now as per explanation, first, if principal question is about politics or caste or religious ceremonies or rights, then no suit for civil nature can be filed. For example, A moves to civil court for seeking direction from central government to declare war against China. So, no one can go to civil court as it is purely a political matter and civil court has no jurisdiction regarding this. Now, second explanation is relating to principal question here is of civil nature, but if question cannot be determined without determining the question relating to caste, religious rights, ceremonies, etc., then court can deal with the matters relating to caste, politics or religious rights or ceremonies in such cases. So, if matter is something else, but initially question relating to caste, politics and religion have to be found out by the court, then court can consider these questions. But if matters relating to purely these rights like political rights, caste or religious rights, then court will not take up such suits because they don't come up within the category suits of civil nature. Now, I have prepared a list of what rights constitute rights of civil nature. Resultantly, if anything done in contravention of them, then suit for civil nature can be filed as per Section 9. First one is right to vote. It is declared or recognized as a right under, in the case of Ashby versus White, this is a very leading case. Then right to privacy, Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Right to parda nashini, if recognized as local custom and obtain force of law. You very well know that many people use there is presence of parda system in India due to some local custom. Then any act done in violation of right to parda, then it may result in the suit of civil nature. Also, there is provision under Section 132 of CPC to provide exemption to parda nasheen lady for appearance before a court of law. Now, right to worship, it is also a civil right according to PMA Metropolitan versus More and More Marthoma case. Now, next is right to share in offerings. You very well know that there are several pandits which carry out pujas at religious places. They get share in that chadhavas and offerings. So, if they don't get it, then it is their right as per civil law, and suit can also be filed for contravention of these rights. Now next is right to Yajman Vrittis. Yajman Vritti is permanent relationship between a Hindu Yajman, that is Hindu family, and a Pandit or a Purohit. So any offering, any act done in contravention of this offering can be brought to civil court as per the Jizabai versus Manglilal case. Now next right, which is also a right of civil nature, right to religious procession is a right of civil nature. So any act done in contravention of carrying out a religious procession can be brought to court as per Sheikh Piru versus Kalandi case. Now next is right to secular office is right of civil nature. It was held in V. Ramanuj versus R. Ramanuj. Here secular office is office which is not relating to any particular religion. So office holder must be under legal obligations to discharge duty attached with office. As office is a carrying out rights of office is right of civil nature. So any act done by a person that is holder of office which is not in accordance with law, then such person can be brought, suit can be brought against such person who does not perform his or her duties well, legal duties well attached to the office. Like a person appointed as lecturer to perform legal duties, and if that person does not perform them, then in such case suit of civil nature can be brought against such person. Now next is right to religious office. There are two types of such as offices. First is where fee is attached, and second is where no fee is attached. Where fee is attached, like office of Qazi in Muslim religion and office of Joshi in Hindu, in hilly areas of North India, like in temples. So in case of dispute, civil suits may lie against Qazi or Joshi of hilly regions, and where no fee is attached but voluntary offerings are there, then office is attached to holy spot, like several temples have offices attached to them. Then civil court has jurisdiction if any suit arises. And when there is office of personal character, like office of Shri Shri 1008 Maharaj, then no civil suit lies. But after amendment of 1976, as per explanation 2 of section 9, any religious office irrespective of any fee attached or not, these are offices of civil nature. So after amendment of 1976, any religious office, as I told you, there are two types of offices where fee is attached and where fee is not attached. So irrespective of the fact that fee is attached or not, these offices are of civil nature. Now next is right to property. It is any act done in contravention of such right, then suit can be brought. You very well know property disputes are disputes of civil nature. Now following rights are not of civil nature. First is suits involving principally caste questions. You very well know what is a caste. It is a community of human beings having internal autonomy. No, like there is no organized or proper person giving rules or regulations, but these are decided by the people, group of people themselves, and they become rules which are followed by each and every person in our Indian society. So if a person is not invited in a caste dinner, so no civil suit can be brought by such person against the persons organizing such dinner. Also at the same time, if a person is expelled from a caste, then it has civil consequences, as court can see whether such expulsion was as per the rules of natural justice, and even damages can be awarded to such person. There are, as it is against the fundamental rights which are given in our constitution. So if any person is expelled from a caste, then action can be brought by such person against those expelling him. But if a person is not invited in a caste dinner, then no such action can be brought against those organizing the dinner. There is a leading case also, Ganpati versus Bharti, in which Madras High Court held that court can intervene in case of expulsion from the caste. Also in case of PMA Metropolitan versus V. Moranmar Marthoma, Supreme Court held that court can deal with official exclusion of a Christian from participation in the services of church, as it is affecting his right to worship. Now, second point, which come within the category of rights which are not of civil nature, is suits involving purely religious rites or ceremonies. I told you earlier also, it is as per the explanation first, that questions relating to principally religious questions are not covered under suits of civil nature. In the case of Vasudeva versus Vamanji, adorning idol at a particular time of month, it depends upon the members of the committee managing affairs of temple. So, no civil suit can lie for this. Also in Kanni Manji versus Kanni Manji, no civil suit shall lie for installing particular holy painting in a temple. Now, third point is suits for recovery of voluntary payment or offerings. So, if a particular Purohit or Pandit is not given particular amount during a ceremony, then he cannot bring, which is voluntary, he cannot bring a civil suit for this. Now, next point is suit for upholding mere dignity or honor. So, if any person is appointed in an office on an honorary basis, then no legal suit can be brought against such person. But if such person is not appointed on honorary basis, like he is appointed by by following a proper method, then civil suit can lie if he does not carry out the works of the office in which he is appointed. So, if nature of office was honorary, then no civil suit will lie, and there is no legal obligation between person honored and person who bestowed such honor. When matter is of civil nature, now second point, as per the section 9, civil court has jurisdiction to try all such suits. You know very well, I explained earlier, unless when cognizance of such suit is expressly or impliedly barred. Now, what is expressly barred? When a legislature competent to pass a law decides that something should not be dealt by law. So, by a proper legislation, if particular suits are barred from being entertained by civil courts, then such suit cannot be entertained. Like in case of Central Administrative Tribunal, there is a proper act. So, all administrative cases, matters are to be listed before Central Administrative Tribunal, before its benches or the principal bench, and not entertained by the civil courts. There is a proper tribunal made for such type of matters. Similarly, in case of disputes which may arise under Industrial Disputes Act, then proper industrial tribunal is constituted. Same is for Workmen Compensation Act, Labour Court has jurisdiction to deal with them. But in state of Tamil Nadu versus Ramalingam Samargil Madam, it was held that civil court can indirectly deal with those matters which it cannot deal, as they are expressly barred. Like if court finds that proper remedy is not provided by such these special courts or tribunals, then court can look into such matters. Now second point, when cognizance is impliedly barred. So, on the basis of public policy, like under section 23 of Indian Contract Act, contract is void and no suit for its enforcement lies. So no civil suit lies for costs incurred in criminal proceedings. For criminal proceedings, there is proper different statute, you know very well, it is CRPC. So, no civil suit can lie for costs incurred in criminal proceedings. And also for false imprisonments, civil suit can lie for compensation, but no civil suit lies when a thing is against public morality, like leasing premises for running call girls racket. I hope in today's video section 9 आपको clear हो गया होगा, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe this video, and do post your doubts and give your reviews in the comment box. Thank you.